they say, it looks like them niggas ain't playing. It looks like them niggas ain't playing. That was the whole point of the Black Panther Party with the gun. But they were playing. And we're gonna show you this in the film, and we'll show you this in real life history. Did they have some shootouts? Yeah. Did they have they had more Black Panthers, of course, getting killed than the police. But the whole premise is we're going to create a physical reality in the eyesight of the grassroots masses. And then this is going to create a spark that's going to now create a revolution to now kill whitey, kill police. This is what this poem is talking about. Because it looks to me like them niggas ain't playing. But because the people don't know how to think, they didn't know that the niggas were playing. And we'll prove that within the dynamics of it. The next big thing that came out, my other homeboy, H-Rap Brown, he's in the film, and he said something. They recorded him, and this is what he says. Those are not riots, those are rebellion. People are rebelling because of conditions. I like that. That's good. And not because of individuals. That's kind of strange, but I kept on going. So he says, no individual creates a rebellion. It's created out of the condition. I really would like to talk to him about that because that's kind of confusing. Because any condition that you experience in this physical realm, Brother Naru, some individual or individuals cause it. Conditions just don't goddamn happen, okay? Poverty just don't happen. Oppression just don't happen. Rape just doesn't happen. Murder just doesn't happen. Wars just don't happen. Individuals create these things. And so I really would like to talk to him. It sounded good when he was saying it. But again, when you have to think about these things that were being said, a lot of it is rhetoric. Then they show Angela Davis, and she referenced the Black Panthers and their armed patrol. And she said that this was the first thing that they did to organize armed patrol to ensure that Black people would not be harassed and intimidated. Again, ensure. Of course, that never happened because they could never ensure that Black people were not violated, intimidated, but they were observing. And that's a good thing. Why we got to try to make things bigger than what they are, it's very interesting. Huey P. then spoke about protecting Black people and bonding them out of jail. Okay, that's copacetic. But Bobby Seale said something, and it caught my attention. And Bobby Seale talked about destroying America and making it a non-capitalistic state. Now, Ruth, is that idealism or is that reality?
Major idealism.
Okay, but this is the bullshit. This is the bullshit that they were saying. So now, that's why I say I want you to remember that poem because it sure looks to me like them niggas ain't playing. So because the Negroes got black on and they got guns, the premise is they ain't playing. But now when we have to deal with what they're saying, you know goddamn well they playing.
So Craig, the poem, what were they talking about burning? Did you say that the buildings were burning after King got killed? Is that what you were saying?
With all of the so-called riots and rebellions, the poem is about setting America on fire because the people's frustration, the condition, their leaders are now killed. And so now the poets are articulating the frustration of the
But
people.
why is that equated to just the Panthers? That seems like that's more of a community thing on. That's why I'm trying to. That's why I had trouble breaking that down. I didn't see how that equated to. They were talking about the Panther. I know it was in the movie, but wouldn't that be more of the community when they ride? It's not just one group. It's a community. So that's what I'm.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm taking the poem and using it as a metaphor
Okay.
for the group because they reported on the group. It's a piece about the Panthers also when it says, because it looks like them niggas ain't playing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using it as a group, as that particular deal. Yeah, it could also be referenced to people burning up their buildings and they say, oh, them niggas ain't playing. They set that building on fire. Right? It could definitely be that, but I'm just simply using it as a metaphor for the Black Panther Party because that's what was being said. Them niggas, if you remember, if you go back to the movie Panther, when it first came out, and they pulled up and they saw police accosting a few individuals outside of a bar, and they pulled up and they had their guns and they said, my God, man, these niggas out here crazy. You know, these niggas ain't playing because it's going to get an immediate shock treatment out of individuals to see a group of organized individuals with the same clothes on and having weapons. Okay.
True,
and then,
Brother
and then
Craig, but Brother Craig, why are we focusing on just the gun? That's what I'm trying to get at. When you say not playing, they had other things that they were doing other than just the guns. And I know that gets sensationalized all the time, and you know that as well. But the Black Panther Party did do some wonderful things. So I take I'm just saying to say that they were playing. I don't feel like I feel like they were doing what they could at the time. They didn't know a lot. I'm agree with that, but I don't actually feel like they were playing. So I'm just gonna say that's just my point, and I'm gonna let you roll.
Yeah, but you're missing the point. You're going into some of the programs that they did. That's not why the person is saying that it looks like them niggas ain't playing. That's not why the poem is saying that. The poem is saying that because of some type of action that is being taken that is completely out of the norm. And so the gunplay was the number one thing that galvanized them throughout the country. It wasn't because of the free lunch program and the med program. For Black people to see Negroes march to the capital of California with guns, that's how they proliferated throughout the United States. They didn't proliferate because of no damn feeding program. And for people to believe that they were the first people to start feeding people in the hood, that's a goddamn lie. Because various churches and organizations did the same thing. So that's not anything new. They used the guns, as Sister Fabu just got to saying, they were using the guns as a prop. It was a theatrical performance, but the people on the ground viewed that as being revolutionary
and real.
And that's just a fact. I'm not just taking away from what they did, but it's important that you understand that point because that's how the BLA came to be, which was a part of the Black Panthers, because they saw that all they were doing was talking about revolution and not actually physically going and doing anything.
Not disputing that, Brother Craig. I just didn't see the connection to that actual poem because that poem wasn't actually written about the Black Panthers. That's all I was trying to.
No, it wasn't. But that's why I was just making it a metaphor. It was just interesting that the poem came out at the beginning of the film, and throughout the Black Panthers' whole initiative, it was about war. It was about guns. And we're going to get into it, but I wanted you to remember that because we're going to get into that in the film. Okay, and then you have the little brother He's now being profiled, another member that was in the group, and he said, "We are an armed propaganda unit." And so what comes to mind when somebody says the word propaganda? When you hear the word propaganda, what is
that? The manipulation of information, images, pictures, video to make a point, get a point across, to sway people to move and or do.
Would you agree with that, Brother Naru?
100%.
Now I'm not making this up. This wasn't a part of the movie. This was an actual interview where the brother is saying, he was an actual Black Panther back in the day. He said, "We are armed propaganda unit." Yeah, we carry guns, but we be doing other things too. Free medical clinics, to your point. Free breakfast programs, to your point. Free schools, free legal aid. Everything is free. You ain't got to do a goddamn thing. Propaganda. Now, what was the propaganda they was pushing? What I'm telling you, Brother Naru.
Oh no, I totally agree with the gun thing. I'm not disputing that. I know that from day one. I mean that was the main thing that propped the Panthers up and brought them into national attention and into the attention of the government as well. So no, I'm not disputing that at all, brother. For real.
But guess what? The free medical clinics, the breakfast programs, the free schools, and the legal aid were propaganda crops too. You know why? That ain't have nothing to do with what their real agenda was. Their real agenda was what Bobby Seale said: eliminating capitalism in the United States. They were tricking Black people with the guns, with the breakfast programs, with the free medical clinics and the legal shit in order to get them to now indirectly, de facto, being communist. That was the agenda. And that's a fact. And so then you hear them say, we're going to fight capitalism with socialism. And the only reason that they use socialism, that's a nicer term than saying communism, because they know the people don't know communism or socialism. They don't even know what capitalism is. Okay? And they didn't really spend time studying it, so they jumped. This is what this whole thing is all about. So if you really understand the context of why the FBI is at them, it wasn't just because they were a regular Negro organization. These cats were literally talking about undermining the entire United States. And they were working with foreign entities right there in Oakland, because one of them taught at Merritt College, the Chinese cat. He was connecting them with the weapons. So this was...
That's Richard Aoki.
Yeah. This was a real threat. I mean, however you want to look at it, but it really was. What's y'all thought on that in terms of discussing how they were focused on communism, socialism, Marxism, Leninism, Stalinism versus capitalism? What's y'all thought about that? I really want to get Trey's perspective. Trey, what's your perspective on that, brother Trey?
Yeah, I felt that, again, so it portrayed the Black Panther Party as a reactionary party. And like I said, so it's just like they said socialism, I guess, so they said the right things, or quote unquote the right things, or some of them rather, but I was listening to another review, and I like the way that he put it. He said it felt like they were like sloganeering, like it was like a slogan, like, oh yeah, socialism, like we're just saying it just to, but there was like no real, it didn't go further. So that's my point, that my biggest, some people can't really say why what their problems with the movie was, but that is my problem with the movie. And I guess, like I said, it kind of simplifies and condenses what it was about and what they were about, and then just kind of these stars, these people, individual people. And so, but going back to what the Black Panthers were about, the really about power. I think I think the power part, it's just about, oh, the pigs, and and meanwhile, I have a different perspective. I'm a vegan, and so I don't identify with calling the cops pigs, because I think it's a speciesist thing, and so it kind of portrays pigs as like these evil beings, or these evil people, and so. But that's a whole other discussion. But anyway, so yeah, so it's like all about the police, all like local, I guess, which is not to say that they weren't involved with local politics and that they weren't involved with like things that are happening on the ground and on the street. And then, like I said, they don't even really show that. They don't even really show like what, like police terror, right? And so, but the real the theory that the Black Panthers were about, and the people still alive still are about, internationalism, the upending of this capitalist system, the extracting of labor, and how even it connects to slavery and like our plight, and how a real transformative politics is to upend capitalism. And so, in that, like I said, and even the FBI's motives, and like I said, now what I would have liked to see with the movie, if it were, like I said, if we're gonna go with the informant, which I don't like centering people who are not for the people, but now what it could have been, they could have really shown the inner workings of the FBI more. Like they could have really showed like what was going on. So I might be going off, but
you're going into ideal. See, here's what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
You're going into idealism and romanticism. I'm dealing with reality, not only of the film, but of the Black Panther Party. Okay. And what I'm showing you, they didn't know what the hell they were talking about, because all they were doing was parenting Karl Marx, who had never done a goddamn thing other than theorize.
Right.
And they were parenting Lenin and Russia. And that shit never did work. And by the time they were promoting this, communism was on its way out of Russia. So my point is, what was going on? I said it again.
I was saying, was it ever fully actualized though? I think people think that the project of trying to divest from this capitalist system, and like they look at Cuba, they look at China, like presently, and so they're like, oh, like it doesn't work. Like, oh, look at them, and so look at the flaws within them, and when it does, because whenever a country is trying to, as we see now, as we've seen historically, whenever a country is what's the word? How should I say this? Divesting from the Western powers, the capitalist powers, there's sanctions. There's all of these COINTELPRO. Like there is a counter revolution. There is a counter move, and so I feel like we haven't really seen it. And I know we've gotten close to it. I'm not saying that it wasn't social, that these things didn't happen, but I felt in the theory of it, I guess, like you said, I mean, philosophers, I guess teachers, you can say that teachers don't necessarily do anything, but if they're inspiring thought, if they're inspiring, like I said, I know you're saying that that's idealistic, but if people are taking theory and putting it into practice, I don't think that that's necessary. That doesn't just stay idealistic and romanticized. But I do understand there is it's very valid what you're saying, but I just don't think that.
Let me ask you this question. If a person has never done brain surgery, if they've never done brain surgery, how the fuck can they teach you about brain surgery other than theory? How can you teach somebody about something that you haven't done?
Right.
Okay. So what I'm saying to you is, I love my brothers, but they were in theory, and they were selling the theory as legitimate fact. And so when we talk about this film, when people say, I would have liked to have seen, this is what I tell people: put your money together and make your own movie. They've had an issue with the original Panther that came out in the 90s, and they got an issue with this. if you're in the movement, you would know that this is a great film because it's giving you inside details as to how the FBI comes at you with these particular regular people. But that's all that I wanted to hit on that. But we're going to open it back up. But I just want to get through these particular points because without you experiencing a particular thing, there's no way that you're going to have it vetted. I mean, to bring something to market, like right now I'm investing in cryptocurrency. Now you have Bitcoin as an actual real deal thing that you can analyze future cryptos on. So here I've now invested $3,000 in this particular crypto. I wake up this morning and now my account is over $7,000. So my point is you can use history as a teacher based on people doing physical deeds. And the Panthers were selling people on a concept of something that had never been put into practice. And when it had been put into practice, it was already failing because Russia, the Socialistic Republic of USSR, that came into place in 1917. And by 1966, that shit was on its way out. It was totally over in 1991. So it has been proven that the government owning everything and now having a new group of people running the government, that's still going to create a class system. There's no way around it because we're dealing with this whole deal. And you're right, Brother Ken, Karl Marx was a goddamn racist. And so they were, and he was an atheist. So they were promoting concepts that they didn't even know what the hell they were talking about. That's just a fact. So
they did say that they didn't really know what they were talking about. So out here in the Bay Area, you know, this is what they were selling. You know this, right?
yeah.
You know this book, right? That's Cherry Mile.
Yeah.
So that's what they sold on the Berkeley campus to start to fund the Panthers initially here in Oakland. So they definitely were leaning communist. So I mean, they might have switched to socialism later, but from the beginning they were talking about communism. It wasn't it wasn't even hidden.
Exactly.
And they were selling it to the white kids up in Berkeley.
Exactly. All right, so now we get into the part where Roy Mitchell has caught William O'Neill with theft. And what was interesting in the interrogation scene, Roy Mitchell asked him about, like, why the hell won't you just rob people like a regular criminal with a gun or a knife? And why the badge? And he said, the badge is scarier than a gun. He said, it's like you got the whole army behind you. And now this is the part that Sister Fabu hit on of the danger of being apolitical. He asked this guy two questions. Were you upset when Dr. King was murdered? And if he was kind of stumbling, he said, you can be honest. He said, yeah, I guess. He said, what about Malcolm X? And the cat said, I ain't never even thought about it. So the bells went off. You're our guy. Because you apolitical. And we can use your hand. Since you facing 15, 18 months for the stolen car and 5 years for impersonating a federal officer. That got it. And that's where we go. So being apolitical and being unethical and immoral, you're a great test case for the FBI or any governmental agent. And that was powerful. The next thing, and this is very interesting, as you look at the reality of the Panthers, when they start the college scene where Hampton is getting ready to speak, and he's sitting down looking in a very negative way when the sister references the college changing the name to Malcolm X. Did you all check out the body language that Kahlua did.
Yeah,
at that point?
he was very aloof. Like whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Man, that's some bullshit. Did y'all catch that?
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting because he was looking at what they were saying as bullshit and rhetoric, but that's what the fuck they were doing. But because they had the prop, the gun, and they had the props of the language of communism combined with the free medical clinic, breakfast program schools, and legal aid, he felt that that was entitling them to more status or better understanding of the game. All right. I say here, Fred's character dismisses this is bullshit, but the sister says this is activism. Now, I don't know what you all thought about, but it hit me. It hit me. This is where we're at, even in the 21st century. And I call it rhetoric war. That's all we basically are engaged in the Black community, in the African American community. Rhetoric war. You got some people who like Umar Johnson, so-called Pan-Africanists, so-called Black nationalists. You got some people who like Polite. None of these people are doing a goddamn thing but talking rhetoric. And we get caught up, and then that's how we rock and roll. And that's how it's always been that particular way. So you gotta have substantive information to go along with reality-based projects and programs. Other than that, we're just playing. We're not really doing anything, and the white folks wouldn't be concerned. This is the part where now he says, he gets up and he starts to speak, and he talks about revolution versus reform. And I wanted to get y'all's take on that. What's y'all thought about him saying revolution versus reform? Because he was totally against reform. He said that revolution is the only solution. What's y'all thought about that?
Well, understanding that he didn't have a full and complete understanding of capitalism, it makes sense that he would say we don't need to fix it. We need to tear it down and start over with a new beginning. So based on our current understanding of where his head was, it makes sense. But looking at the totality of what they were trying to do, there's certainly more to it than just if you can, you more certainly want to create a new system, but you need to study the current system that you're in, because if you're trying to create something new that's unnecessary, you're wasting time that you may not have.
Exactly. Anybody else?
Yeah, like I think that like that's the whole thing. Like, should we fight for incremental change, or should we fight for the whole thing? And so, but I think that if you fight, like, you're never, I'm not gonna say never, but you're not going to, what we've seen historically is that you're not always going to get everything that you're demanding, but there'll be something down, maybe a step down. And so, like, if you're demanding revolution, or we're demanding these things up in the systems, and then the incremental change is actually, like a positive change. So, so I don't know about that. Like, but like a good point is, for example, and I'm not saying I'm not against looting, or I'm not against rioting or anything like that, but for example, if we burn down the local CVS in the neighborhood, what was the step to care for the people who were getting their medicine, their food, even from that store? If we're going to tear it down, we have to have something we have to have something ready. We have to have, what are we going to do with people, who that was local to them, that was close to, they don't have public transportation. I mean, they don't have transportation, so they're relying on public transportation. So, so I think, so it's just kind of, you know, like what happens the day after revolution. That's really the focus for me. So, so it's kind of, you know, again, kind of cement. No, it's a real discussion, and so anyway, so that's my.
I would say revolution has to be reformed. I mean, how can revolution not be reformed? I mean, you're trying to change something, so it's got to be reformed. That really didn't make a whole lot of sense to say it like that. That is what a revolution is trying to do, is to change something, and reform is to change. So
That's a good point.
I mean, it was very, like you would say, idealistic. They were young. When you're in your youth, you think you're superhuman. You think you can do all of these things, and as you grow and get older, you start to understand that it's not quite that way. We do have a mortality. You know, we think we can do everything when we're young. I mean, you know, when you're in your 20s, I mean, you all remember, you think you can do almost anything, but in actuality, as you grow older, you come to find out that it takes more thought and to move things forward. You have to go a little deeper than the surface. So that's pretty much would be my takeaway from that.
Okay.
Hey, Craig, brothers, when he was talking about reform, he made a statement in there about the capitalist has one goal.
Yeah.
And so you're right, Brother Naru. You have to reform it in some manner or way to revolt against. He wanted to revolt against the whole capitalistic system and put the socialist system in its place. So he not only wanted to reform it, he wanted to just erase it, eradicate it, and bring on a whole new dynamics of government. Because he felt that, you know, as long as you reform it, the people who are in charge, you're just going to change the names around. Somebody give you, just like we go from Democratic to Republican and Republican to Democrat, and you get the same stuff filtering down to the lower man. So that's what pretty much his mind frame was, I was thinking.
Yeah, and that statement you're talking about, Brother Ken, it says, because the capitalist has one goal, that is to exploit the people. And he said he can have a three-piece suit or a dashiki. Now, the sad part about this, I mean, it's really sad. He never focused on, I mean, they automatically believe that a communist and a socialist was a better entity than a goddamn capitalist. And it took Dr. Frances Press Welsing to be taught by Neely Fuller, a brother who worked as a janitor while she was in a PhD program. He said, no matter what goddamn system you're looking at, Black people are always on the goddamn bottom.
That's right.
So what the hell are y'all talking about? But so you're absolutely correct, Brother Ken and Brother Naru. And here's where they constantly were hitting on African culture. They were demeaning African culture with the shiki this, the shiki that. But he says here, because political power doesn't flow from the sleeve of a dashiki, political power flows from the barrel of a gun. Remember what I told you to remember, Brother Naru? At the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Them niggas ain't playing. Because all of the rhetoric is about gunplay. But they are playing. Because they wasn't about their life.
And another reason we know that they weren't they weren't even completely open and honest with their intellectual approach, because they weren't looking at all revolutionary movements. They weren't studying all revolutionaries, because they I don't know if I remember Fred Hampton one time talking about a revolution in Africa, but they didn't constantly reference that. They didn't constantly weigh that revolutionary tactic or struggle or strategy with Marx and Lenin. And I think this goes back to what you always say, Brother Craig, you know, where you get your money and who you sleep with, you know, determines how you think and what you're going to do in your politics. So I think that plays a huge role in it, because we know they were getting their money from people who were non-melanated. And of course, the white liberals aren't going to give you money to promote something that they're not trying to promote themselves.
Yeah.
So they weren't even intellectually honest.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't. Here's the I mean, this is just devastatingly sad. We in the Black Panther Party don't believe in no culture but revolutionary culture. Bruh. Now, Nehru held up that book from Mao Zedong. What cultural group, Brother Nehru, is Mao Zedong? What cultural group does he belong to?
That's the Chinese, brother.
Okay. So, did Mao Zedong speak revolutionary language? Is revolutionary language?
Say that again.
Is there a language called revolutionary?
No, it's not.
Is there a food called revolutionary?
No, sir.
Is there a name called revolutionary?
Not like that, no.
So here they are promoting Mao Zedong, who is what culture group?
He's Chinese, brother.
But they say they don't need no damn culture. They just need revolutionary culture. It's sad, bro. I mean, I try my best. I'm serious. I pray. I'm like, Creator, don't let me be too hard on these cats. Now, I don't y'all give them a lot of, like, oh, they were young. It's like, when you say somebody's young, like 13, 15, there wasn't no 13 and 15 now, goddamn. I mean, Fred Hampton was 21. Bobby Seale, QT, they were in their late 20s. So follow me now. They weren't as young as we try to make them out, goddamn be. Yeah, I mean, they weren't now.
And I think that goes back to what Brother Trey said. You know, we don't think things through. We don't really think things through. You know, the only culture we need is the culture of revolution. Well, what the hell is that? What does that look like? What's the outcome? What, like Trey said, what happens after we loot and riot? Where do people go get their medication from if we burn down the CVS?
Okay.
Right? So we're so busy trying to incite the people to react and do and join that we don't think, okay, well, you know, once we get them all excited and fired up and they join, you know, how are we gonna make this thing a reality? And that's why, you know, I say we don't, you know, they weren't intellectually honest, and we're still, like you said, Brother Craig, earlier, we're still doing the same thing today, just talking loud about revolution, change, doing the white man, whatever, but not really putting in the work to produce something that really matters, because we don't think things through, because we're just trying to get people motivated, play on their emotions, and then take them to people.
Exactly. And the other part of this too, man, what it shows is they didn't even know what the hell the term culture actually means.
Yep.
Because every damn body that they were quoting or saying came from a particular cultural group.
No doubt.
And that's how they mobilized their damn people of that cultural group. No damn body. Karl Marx wasn't trying to organize and mobilize with no damn Africans and shit. I mean, we just. I hope as we discuss these types of subjects that you all take from this not just a movie, but in real life, we have to know what these terms actually mean. Because if you don't, you get caught up saying things in the public domain, and your words are on record.
Can't take it back.
You can't take it back.
Right.
Study Mao, Che, and everybody else. Keep on going. Who's got something to say? No, really?
Oh, no, I wasn't saying anything.
Somebody's about to say something. That was Trey.
I was saying that I think too, we have to think about, I would like to rethink revolution as well, and thinking in that I think when people think about revolution, they think about the fight, or they think about like the event,
Exactly. Yeah.
the when the flame heats the oil or whatever, or the gas. And so, but I think building is revolutionary.
Yes,
I,
it
you
is.
know, like,
Yeah.
and I think as quickly as that, you know, the flame meets the gas, that's as quickly as it can be expelled too. And so that's what we kind of see with the Black Panther movement. And not to say that they weren't building or anything like that, but like real structures. Like and I do think that we should have, you know, the right for self-defense and everything like that. But if it's an arms race, then it's already already like
we're not in that race.
You already
at least right now, huh?
Yeah, they would. If it's an arms race, we've already lost.
Yeah, and so that's the like I said, the culture, the spiritual aspect is vital, is key. Like I said, in building this. So I think that I know brother somebody else says, you know, we don't have much time, and we don't have much time, but I think everybody wants it to be, you know, and everything now is about time and convenience and this and that. How can I save time? How can I save this? You know, but it's like, how do we slow build? How do we, you know, molten rock to where it's not, you know, you can't just drop a bomb and it's gone, you know, and you take out one leader, even we, you know, like I said, even though I didn't like the individualism, but I guess that almost was like, it's like, damn, if they take out Fred, you know, like, is it the whole thing crumbles? And like this is, you know, that's not sustainable. And so if we're really building something, we're really talking about power. This is and I'm, you know, this is past even our lifetimes, and we're trying to pass it, you know, to the next generation. And so I think I understand what you're saying. Also, you know, like I said, it's a balance. And like I said, that's why I've never, even though a lot of people, you know, people probably would think that I maybe, you know, say I'm a communist, I'm a Marxist or whatever, but I don't think that we have seen, I think we have to look forward. I think sometimes we look back. I think we look backwards to learn, but like, I don't think a system that already has been in place is what we need. Like, we need to develop something and not try to, like you said, do something that's just been a theory or this, you know, something in another culture or another. Now, I also think that there is things that, you know, what may work here may not work in, you know, in Tanzania or whatever. You know, there's just that we're in different environments. So,
hey Trey, to your point, and I'm glad because I meant to say that, but I'm glad you brought it back to me. We got to redefine what revolution is.
mm-hmm.
And the real revolution is in the mind.
Yep.
That's the real revolution.
That's right.
It takes place in the mind. It ain't at the barrel of no goddamn gun. So let me prove the point. Right now, Trey, we're in the revolution. What is the revolution we're in right now?
Ooh, what? Like, I think about that. Like, what? You know, the revolution. Okay. What revolution are we in right now? We're just, I guess, Black Lives Matter. I don't know. Like, I don't.
Centralized finance.
Financial revolution, economic revolution.
Oh, economic. Okay.
Okay. This is the revolution that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so mentally, if you can't make the adjustment, you're now going to die in this revolution, and your children and your grandchildren are going to die. Now, if we go to the belief that a revolution is at the barrel of a gun, how in the hell have these white boys, Chinese, and even, Asians, and even some Black folks, because they're in this space too, a few of them, how have they now been able to put all this shit together to undermine the capitalistic system to now change the dynamic of how capitalism typically controls? If it requires a gun, how the fuck have they done it? So we got to redefine what revolution actually is, because these folks, the technocrats, they waging war right now. And if your ass ain't on board you're gonna get left behind.
Yep.
And they are penetrating. They ain't going look when they break into these department stores and they hack into governmental systems. They ain't got no damn gun. That's what they got, Trey. A top-notch goddamn computer. And they mad. You see what I'm saying? It's always been that way, Trey. It ain't never been about the gun. Because the people who wage the wars,
they don't have a gun. Or they don't shoot the gun themselves.
Exactly. So they get the strong people to fight the damn war. The weak people use their minds to influence them to fight the goddamn war. So Fred Hampton them didn't even understand that basic concept. That the weak goddamn people start the wars. They don't fight the goddamn wars. They negotiate. And they use people who don't know how to think. So that means that your mind is the goddamn battleground, not no damn gun.
And that goes back to the importance of understanding plutocracy, Brother Craig, because that's what they have always done. Those with money always send those without to fight their wars. Always.
Exactly. And if you follow,
hell, war is the weapon of politics.
Look here in the script. And it's powerful. And again, you hear how he demean African culture. Look what he says. We in the Black Panther Party don't believe in no culture except revolutionary culture. What we mean by that is a culture that will free you. Listen to this. Don't give me no five and dime costume of some medicine man or witch doctor. Fabu. They said you full of shit. Or whatever you think the motherland looks like. He thinks. Now his ass ain't been to Africa either. But he hitting on that Africa. Give me the righteous threads of a Mozambican free Limo fighter. Give me an AK-47 of some bandoliers like they got in Angola. Give me some Colt 45 of the folks trying to free themselves. So they really believe that if you were embracing spirituality and right culture, then your ass, you ain't about revolution.
And that's also sad and unfortunate because he's talking that way, but we know that they weren't really trying to be about that life.
No.
So here you are trying to get people riled up to pick up a gun or whatever, you know. But when it comes time for you to use your gun, you don't use it.
Don't use it, and we're gonna talk about that in the next few minutes. So the crowd applauds. And so the brother in the dashiki finally gets enough of it. And Fred says, a dashiki ain't going to help you when they come up in here with some tank like they did in Henry Horner. You need tools. Brother, we got the tools down at 75th and Madison. He was a goddamn salesman. I ain't going to lie to you. The leader of the crowd said, man, that nigga got some money. We got some $1 million words up here. But look at what the sister said. Sister Deborah. She approaches and she says, I thought your speech was really interesting. And so she was clever because she could sense a little ego. So she said, do you like poetry? And so look again. I mean, it's cool. But yet again, because he ain't got no damn thoughts of his own. But like Che Guevara said, words are beautiful, but actions is supreme, you dig? So look at this clever sister said. I dig right on, but you were up there on that stage using words. So maybe next time, choose them a bit more carefully instead of tearing down the folk you call yourself recruiting, just because they demonstrate a little black pride. Sister Fabu, I got to ask you, what did you think when she said that? What did you think about?
I think Sister Fabu is gone, isn't she?
Oh, okay. And Sister Tyler here?
I guess so. Yeah, she is.
Tyler, what did you think about that?
I just walked back in the room. I missed it.
Okay, I was asking, you know, the scene where the Sister Deborah approaches Fred when he gives a speech, and he says she asked him about his speech, and she said, "I like your speech. I did, right on, but you were on the stage using words. So maybe next time, choose them a bit more carefully instead of tearing down the folk you call yourself recruiting just because they demonstrate a little black pride." What did you think about that when she said that?
I would agree with her. I would say, I mean, you can catch more flies with honey. So, you know, tearing people down doesn't necessarily attract them to an effort or a movement. If you want to bring somebody in, it needs to be attractive to them, and they need to see the value in it without being demoralized.
Yeah, yeah. And because he was on the Dashikis big time.
Right.
All right, so the next scene is where they're having their political class. And they say, he now is like war. He's asking people, what is politics? Well, he asks first, what is war? And so they give him that. Then he asks about politics. And so, yet again, Mao Zedong say, war is politics with bloodshed, and politics is war without bloodshed. What did y'all think about that?
So that statement again, Craig?
Okay, so yet again, he quoted Mao Zedong. And so he says, war is politics with bloodshed, and politics is war without bloodshed. What's y'all thought about it?
Yeah, I agree with that.
You think so?
Yeah.
It sounds good.
Sounds false. Sounds false.
What'd you say, Naru?
That sounds false.
Me
Yeah.
too. I think that,
politics. I think politics has a lot of bloodshed going on. A lot of people die over politics every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the dying is the war part.
No. Well,
armies.
not a war on the battlefield. I mean,
no, not at all. No, not at all. You know, when I say war, I'm not talking about traditional tanks on the battlefield. I'm talking about, you know, someone making a decision to send somebody to knock on your door and do you harm because you won't get down with whatever they're trying to do politically. So I mean, taking things to another level where a person's life is threatened or taken. That's what I mean by war.
I feel like
on a large and small scale, huh?
I feel like politics does cause bloodshed, you know, with the conditions that it creates, from medical to the places you live. So it might not be a gun, is what I'm saying, with the bloodshed, but it's more like the political people are causing just as much harm, if not more.
If not more, yeah, I can dig that.
Yeah. Where, you know, the air we breathe, the water, everything, you know.
I can dig that.
It was very limited in his scope of understanding politics. It's very narrow, but it was an interesting thing. Now, what was funny, when he gets to the office, now the sister has come in, and there's a call from a guy named Stanley Uhuru, and they want to talk to him about opening what kind of an institution?
Was it a clinic?
A credit union.
Credit union, okay.
I thought that was interesting. Now, so there were some devices that were being donated to him, and Fred says, "What is that?" He said, "This is an EKG machine for the credit union."
He said for the clinic.
No, he said for the credit union.
No.
Yeah.
Man, what page you on? I want to see that.
He didn't say that. He said for the clinic.
No. Let me find it, man. Let me find it right quick, man. That was funny as hell, man. But But yeah, that was there were people talking to him about credit unions. You know, there were people talking to him about credit unions.
Yeah, and I don't know how far they got with that idea. Brother Naru, do you know if they ever opened a credit union?
No, they never opened any thing other than the clinic.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I
In the
watched a
school,
clip.
in the school, this clinic in the school.
Yeah,
I watched a clip of Fred Hampton having a conversation with some people, and I think it was about the credit union, and he was saying that if we're going to do this, there has to be a political education attached to it. Otherwise, the people will become greedy. They'll become individualistic. They'll become oppressive of themselves because they haven't been properly educated as how this thing should run. So I don't know why they didn't get further with that conversation, but I know Fred Hampton was big on, and it is kind of funny. It's kind of funny. On one hand, he's big on educating the people about politics, political structure, but he wasn't completely educated himself, which is kind of funny. How he talks about education, but he doesn't really have a full and complete one himself. So I don't know how that would work.
Yeah.
That goes back to what Craig said. You know, you ain't gonna do brain surgery with somebody.
Right.
Right back to that.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're at the point where Roy Mitchell is meeting with William O'Neill, and he's like, "These cats ain't terrorists. They terrorizing me." It's like, "Well, we need you to get close to Fred." And of course, he says, "Give me a car." And he sells that. He's able to sell it because, remember, he's up on charges for a car theft, so they weren't interested in giving him a car. As soon as they get the car, of course, they end up going back to the original pool hall where he had stolen the vehicle to begin the scene. And of course, that whole situation goes the way it went, but he was trying to get the attention of the Crown leadership because he wanted a meeting. And in the car, and this reminded me of Tupac when I saw his documentary or movie or whatever. He said, "Imagine the Crowns, the Stones, Disciples, and Panthers fighting under one revolutionary army." And I said here, straight idealism. It's kind of baffling to me because even when I heard Tupac first say this, I'm like, okay, how is that supposed to work? All of these cats are selling dope. All these cats are committing crimes against the Black community. How are they then supposed to be an ethical revolutionary army for the benefit of the Black community? How did that work?
It's funny, Brother Craig. It don't. But there was a video that a brother was circulating. It may have been a full year ago, and it was so off and it was so sad that I created a counter video to try and set the record straight. And the brother was saying just that. If we can get our gang members to become our soldiers, they can protect us from police brutality. And I'm thinking, so they just gonna flip. So all of a sudden, their subculture of being terrorists to the Black community, selling drugs, pimping the Black, all of a sudden they can become righteous revolutionists. But we believe that. We think that it's just going to happen, and that everybody, we believe all of our kinfolk can be our kinfolk. And we don't understand that that's a different kind of Black person over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Tupac pushed that narrative, and to believe that these cats, to believe that they believe it. Because if you now become self-policing and you're focused on building up your community, you can't still sell dope. You can't still sex traffic little girl. You can't rape females and males. You can't be doing theft and shit.
Hell, you gotta vote. But again, goes back to what Brother Trey said. We don't think things through. If we burn down the CVS, what's going to happen tomorrow?
I mean, bro, this is amazing. But now we get to the point where Bill goes to meet with Roy Mitchell at his home. And yet again, to Sister Fabu's point, Bill didn't even know about the damn murders of the SNCC freedom riders in Mississippi. So he plays on his emotions and tells him, I went down there to investigate that. And now he says the Panthers and the Klan are one and the same. And so I think this is why, to some degree, the ignorance of Bill, not only along with the money and whatnot, he really started to believe that these cats, although he could see that they were not terrorists, he started to believe that he was fighting a good fight.
And I thought every time that the white boy played that card, whenever he played on Bill's ignorance, I was really shocked that he was that ignorant. It's like, how you in the 60s, how are you gonna accept this white man saying that the Panthers are just like the Klan? And then you roll with that. I was totally shocked at how ignorant he was.
He was in too deep, man. He ain't had no choice. He was already in too deep. If he believed it or not, bro, he was in. He had to ride with it now, the whole way through. He didn't want to go to jail. He already established that. He was gonna do anything not to go to jail. So it didn't matter if he believed it or not. He was gonna do it.
Ride with it. Yeah, which goes back to individualism, and the lack of spirituality in right culture.
Yep. But I kind of can believe it because the majority of people ain't never been in this shit.
Yeah.
And the majority of people scared anyway. And if they saw some Negroes with some goddamn guns, and they started telling them, they're communists, and you don't know,
so, what they believe is. Yeah.
So, but I thought that was interesting. But he said something that was interesting. He said, you can't cheat your way to equality, and you definitely can't shoot your way to equality.
That's the American way. That's the American way.
I thought that was interesting, brother. The next scene finds the FBI agents laughing while discussing the COINTELPRO letter writing tactics. And they got a kick out of this. Digging. He said, well, use it in the center. You jive. And they literally put this shit out in the letters. And so when he goes to meet with the Crown's leader, I need to read you something, brother. And he gets to the end of it, dig. So it doesn't make any sense. But now Fred Hampton says to him, hey man, the pigs wrote it. And look at what the leader said. The pigs don't write blood. So that shows you again, they're not even understanding what was going on around them at that time and the tactics that would be used. But to Fred's point, credit, he was able to draw a parallel between Malcolm, Martin, and whatnot. And the dude said, well, what happened to them? Said the same thing that's going to happen to you and I. And he always played on the revolutionary death. I mean, he was a straight Louisiana soldier sticking through. I ain't going to even lie to you. I have here the counterintelligence scene with Bill and the two Black Panthers leaders. This was very interesting, hot wiring the car. This just showed that they didn't know how to properly vet, because common sense would tell you, ain't nobody hot wiring a car and then getting the damn thing rekeyed or whatever. But he was able to sell that. The dude obviously had a skill of lying very good.
Yeah, he was quick. He was quick with it.
Yeah, because he said that he replaced the lie. Then of course they go to the white trailer trash group. They got the Confederate flag, and again, idealism. He asked the brother who talked about the flag directly, What if the slaves and the overseers got together? I mean, everything is like idealism. Like, how in the hell do you all? But I get it. He had a vision in his mind. He had a vision that I'm going to mobilize, organize this Rainbow Coalition, and we're going to change the United States completely. And yet again, he hits on not understanding culture because he talked about water and escape. But he has more disdain for culture again. The dinner scene where Roy Mitchell gives Bill some money, that was very interesting because by this time Bill is like full throttle. And he's like, hold on, let me find that thing. But he's full throttle in terms of how his information is now, in his mind, benefiting what he's supposed to be doing. And it's a very interesting dynamic of what he's believing that he's doing. And this is where the next scene, Fred Hampton now stands on the steps of City Hall, I guess, or in front of the police station. And he says, Chicago is the most segregated city in America, not Shreveport. So we had to point that out. And he didn't just bring that out of his ass. His people are from Haynesville, Louisiana. So it's right down the road from Shreveport. But he said not Shreveport, not Birmingham. It was Chicago. Then this brings us to the damn scene where J. Edgar Hoover says, get this black ass off the street. So now they come up, and this literally happened. They literally set him up with a goddamn robbery of some ice cream. And they literally got him 2 to 5 years. But he didn't do it. That didn't happen. It happened, but it didn't happen. But he was convicted.
Greg.
Yeah.
Can I ask this?
Yeah.
Why do you think they viewed the Panthers as a threat? If ultimately, you were saying that they don't have any power to do anything, why do you think Hoover and them was so afraid? Can you touch on that?
Because although they didn't know exactly what they were doing, they could have stumbled on learning about what to really do. And if you now stumble on learning what to really do, and you got the ability to mobilize and organize people, you're a goddamn threat. So they didn't want to take any chance. If you look at the counterintelligence documents in the back of the assassination of Malcolm X, they even said of Martin Luther King, if his crazy ass would abandon his belief in nonviolence and roll with black nationalism, this motherfucker will be dangerous. So we got to take his ass down too. You see? So the whole thing, the threat is figuring out how this thing really works.
All right. I think the threat is too, it's like, although I know the big critique is that it's idealistic, but if the ideas actually actualize, then that's the real threat. So that's mine.
Well, the thing about that, Trey, is that I guess you could look at it from that standpoint and say, the battle of socialism, communism, and capitalism. But if they would have figured out that at the core of capitalism is our Afrocentric political and economic system of free enterprise. See, white folks didn't create free enterprise, Trey. We did. Because we're the original business people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You do know that, right?
Yeah, well, it had to, which is a whole, I don't even, I guess, like there was already, they learned everything from us. And so,
And so, and I'm glad you brought this point out. The point is, in our analysis of the crack, we are so irrationally emotional that we can't even see that basically everything that they've done they've just taken from us and flipped it into a negative. So instead of us saying, okay, they took what we did and flipped it to a negative, let's now flip it back to the positive. But we just say, fuck it, let's abandon, like, you take higher ed. Where do the Ivy League colleges and universities in America get their start from?
Get their start?
Yeah, where are they modeled after?
Yeah, the institutions in, I guess, ancient Africa, or
yeah,
yeah.
Okay, but now the Negro see as higher ed, and they say, we don't need no goddamn education. College ain't worth the goddamn. Fuck college. You see what I'm saying? So now the white folks have taken our institution, flipped them for a negative capitalistic thing, and instead of us saying, hey, we need to now learn more, we say learning is not even important.
You mute, Brother Craig.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a very nuanced thing. I
come up with nuanced concepts because we're not thinking. So when you look at capitalism, if you just look at the oppressive aspect of it, and you don't look at its core to see, Trey, if you come up with an idea, let's say you came up with an idea to make some signs that could help people find an address at a house, and this is $1 billion idea. Okay, you came up with it. You would prefer the government to take your idea, and now your intellectual capital can never be realized by you, but the government owns it, and you just work as a regular laborer? Or would you now desire to have a free enterprise system where you can bring this to the market, make $1 billion, and then go and help other people with your money? Which system would make better sense?
I mean, if the people were taken care of, if the people were sustained, then I wouldn't need to make my money to go help other people. I think that this whole philanthropy, this whole, even I think Brother Samani has said one time, like, or just some things we talk about here, just like this whole idea of like community service, and but we want to change the structures to where community service isn't needed. Like, it's not, oh, we don't need to do backpack drives, we don't need to do food drives, all these different things. And so if I'm making money to quote unquote to do my work, versus if I have an idea that's going to contribute to society and that's going to be for the betterment, and everybody is it's just for our advancement, and we're moving forward. Of course, there's going to be conflicts and all that, but so I know, again, might be idealistic, but I think that what are my motivations for making to be this to profit from? And that's the thing, it's a profit motive. Is it and then is it for the true betterment of society, or is it just for profit? And so,
but you would determine that, though. You would be the entrepreneur to determine that. You would be see, we get caught up in the ideological discussion about trying to make society conform to this romantic idea, versus now you can't control society, but you can control yourself. So if you were making $1 billion, I'm asking you right now, if you were making $1 billion a year, what would you do, Craig, with your money?
Ooh, there's so much.
Not in convoluted stuff. Where would the bulk of your money go?
Building infrastructure for the community, for our people.
Okay, what percent?
What percent of my money?
Yeah.
Probably like 95%.
Okay, good go.
Of $1 billion, probably like 99% actually.
Okay, so now, what should you be doing? Begging? Should you be begging evil capitalistic people to change, or should you be focused on coming up with an idea to make $1 billion?
Oh yeah, it would go to our own institutions, our own building of our own infrastructure, our own.
I'm saying, what would be the better thing to do right now?
What would be the better thing to do right now?
Would it be best to constantly ask evil capitalistic people to change from their wicked ways, or
Right.
you come up with an idea to start a business and go make $1 billion? Which one would be the most logical thing to do?
Oh yeah, like right now, yeah, like that, like because you have to operate in we have to operate in the structure which we're in, and so yeah, so like I said, but I guess, but it's also the vision and the goal is the change, but like right now in 2021, like that, yeah, like the goal, like, you know, we need to make money, you know, not to say we just need to make money or whatever.
Do you think it would be easier for you to help make change if you had $1 billion a year, or if your ass had $0 a year?
Right. And that's my personal struggle. I don't want to go too personal, but like just like, oh, like I hate, like I wish I could just work for free. I wish I could just, you know, oh, I know, but I know that I'm an asset to any company or any, you know, whatever entity that I'm gonna be a part of. And so I don't know that's how it works. I like my feelings about, but that's just my feelings, you know. But as far as like what we need to survive, if I really want to make an impact, then I need capital. You know, we need resources. So
you're right. In any system, you gotta have capital.
Right.
The question is the capital gonna be in the hands of individuals, or is it gonna be only in the hands of government?
Mm-hmm.
And then, who is government? There is a system that's going to determine that. And guess what that system is going to do? Fuck over the little people.
Right.
Not because this is about whether your spirit is righteous or unrighteous.
Right.
That's what the whole thing is. Ain't got shit to do with no goddamn system. Okay? Capitalism could work if it was not rooted in white supremacy racism. But free enterprise definitely can work if it was run by righteous people. And that's all we're actually talking about. Finishing up the last few things, they discussed the scene with the brother on the run from the Connecticut chapter, George Sams. That's very important because when you study the real story, when Bobby Seale got off the trial in Chicago, they did try to set him up with this guy, George Sams, for a murder in Connecticut. They were trying to do anything that they could do. The distraction scene in the Black Panther headquarters where Bill accused another member of being an informant, he was trying to make sure they weren't looking at his ass at all. The scene where Deborah wanted to stay, but the female leader wanted her to go, Bill offered to escort her, and the sister told him that you don't even know where it was, the safe house. So he was constantly trying to get in the know and get information. I love the children's scene when after the facility had been bombed and they came in and the little boy sounded like me when I was a child. God dang, they burned the shit out of this motherfucker. I love that scene. That's just Craig Lee right there. I love that scene. The J. Edgar Hoover scene where he is, he's talking about the intel and the murders and the plots to set up Black leaders, those that they had killed, and then using George Sams to lie on Bobby Seale in New Haven, Connecticut. That actually did happen. Fred was released from prison in this scene, and he asked about his daughter getting messed up. J. Edgar Hoover was asking Roy Mitchell about his daughter having sex with a Negro, and Roy Mitchell wasn't understanding where this was going, and he wanted him to be totally focused. We got to stop these Negroes because that's what's going to happen Your 8-year-old daughter is gonna have sex with a Negro. Let's stop them. This is profound, and this gets back to the beginning of the discussion when I was telling Naru. Here's the quote, brother Naru: "Kill a few pigs, get a little something. Kill some pigs, get some more satisfaction. Kill them all, get complete satisfaction." That's the bullshit, brother Naru.
I know it is, because the pigs ain't the one running the system.
Exactly.
Even if they killed all the pigs, you
Exactly.
ain't replacing the system. You got the National Guard, the Army, and all them coming after that. I caught that. I didn't make any sense at all.
Exactly. And that's why I said at the beginning they were using the guns as props to make it seem like they weren't playing. But yeah, nigga, y'all are playing.
Hey, Brother Craig, I wanted to read something right out of the playbook.
Okay.
This is the playbook.
Read it out.
All right, this is what it said. We should carry on constant propaganda among the people on the facts of the world progress and bright future ahead so that they will build their confidence in victory.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's right there. This is their playbook. It's right there.
That's their playbook, bro. And that's why the little dude being interviewed, he didn't know to keep his damn mouth shut when he
No, don't say that part.
And I've never read that book, Brother Naru.
I'm gonna mail you one. I got a couple of them. I'm gonna mail you one. Send me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's their playbook, but the People's Army, all that came right out of here. Everything.
Yeah, and the goddamn berets and all that shit. They like the berets, but they ain't like the dashiki. Crazy as hell. The scene where Fred and Deborah are discussing being a bad mother, bringing a child into a war zone. This was interesting because, you got to look at that from a female sister standpoint. He wasn't even thinking about that. But I thought that was powerful, the poem that she wrote, that whole nine. But simultaneously, this is where the shootout is going on with Jake Winters. And Jake Winters does the shootout because he knows that the goddamn Panthers ain't about that life. So he went on and took it upon himself to kill a couple of cops. And that did happen, by the way. But he wasn't by himself. It was another dude with him in that deal. So I thought that was very interesting. The scene with Bill, Fred, and Bobby. So this goes back to the whole kill a pig. So now Bill is like, okay, let's go on and get this C4. And Bill called their bluff, Brother Naru. He said, they asked him, "You out your mind?" And so Bill said, "Well, goddamn, you said complete satisfaction. Ain't that what you told me?" And then look at what Fred said. "I ain't mean it like that." He said, "You gave me the game. Remember Jimmy Palmer, Bobby Hutton?" He said, "You bomb City Hall, they gonna bomb us." Then he says, "I'm ready to die for the people. How about you?" So now he calling his bluff. Is this a revolution or what? Well, what the hell are we doing this for? Exactly. What are y'all really doing this for? But to their credit, they weren't terrorists because he was, of course, recording them. Hampton's appeal was denied. J. Edgar Hoover already knew about it, and powerful statement. He's like, "Shit, the hell with prison. Prison made Huey T. Newton celebrity. Made Eldridge Cleaver best-selling author. Prison is only a temporary solution." So now he and Deborah discussed Emmett Till. Apparently his mother helped to raise Emmett Till occasionally. Roy Mitchell tells Bill to draw him a blueprint. By this time, Roy said that he was out of the Panthers And goddamn Roy Mitchell let his ass know, you ain't never out, goddamn. Because we'll let it be known that your ass is a rat. And he let him know. You know, they poured that boiling water on old boy's cock. And surely you don't want us to let it be known that you a rat, Bill. Draw this goddamn blueprint. You ain't going nowhere. This was powerful. The bar scene with the prostitute and the pimp. She asked Bill, what brings you out so late? And he said, it's quiet and nobody knows who the hell I am. So he thought.
Mm-hmm.
They knew his tendencies. They knew everything. She said, top off my drink. She leaves. The damn pimp approached. And he, of course, said, hey, man, can you give me an application to the FBI? So Bill is like, man, get your ass out of my face. And look at what he says to get his attention. Mitchell warned me about you. He said, don't worry, man. We hiding in plain sight. And so he exposes the newspaper with the drugs. And, of course, Bill is like, you got me mistaken. And, of course, now he leaves. Bill runs outside. Well, if you FBI, show me a badge. He presented him the badge from the beginning of the movie to let him know this is real.
Yeah.
And so the Crown Heights leader gives, the next thing, Crown Heights leader gives Fred several $1,000s to flee. This is where, no matter how many mistakes that they made, I take my hat off to this brother and other soldiers, because unlike Eldridge Cleaver, unlike Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, goddamn Fred Hampton didn't run.
Yeah.
Fred Hampton did not run. And I give him the utmost respect and credit for that. And all he was talking about was launching the clinic, doing 5 years, launching the clinic, and naming it after Jake Winters, which is what happened. I gotta take my hat off to him on that. But nothing else. That there, he was a real revolutionary. And that wasn't about a damn gun. That was an idea that he wanted to make sure that he lived up to, because he promised Jake Winters' mother that he would set the record straight about who his son really was. Then, of course, we get to the last part of the movie where Mark Clark is sitting on post. And again, when you read the actual count, out of 99 shots, not one goddamn bullet was fired from the apartment. The one that they did fire was in the ceiling, and they said that was a reaction shot after Mark Clark had been shot, and the shotgun went into the ceiling.
And you know, Craig, that's another amazing fact, because I understand to an extent. You're talking about killing pigs and cops, but not doing it. I kind of get that, because that invites all kind of crap that you're not ready for. But you would think, if nothing else, you're going to be prepared to defend your home from your headquarters, where your chairman is lying, with more than just one weapon. You would think, if nothing else, you're going to have at least a few weapons. Some people outside, the people inside, the people on the roof. So it's like they were playing with fire and didn't know it. It's like they thought, we can talk shit and these white boys aren't gonna retaliate. Although they have been retaliating. That's why you got started. That's why you changed from you changed your name from that's why you added the Black Panther for self-defense.
Yeah.
Because the cops were harassing your people, and I don't know if there was ever a concerted effort to get the cops to stop doing that.
Yeah.
In a systematic, revolutionary way. So it's kind of amazing that they weren't prepared for the possibility, even the inevitability, of them sending people to kill Chairman Fred. That really kind of blows my mind that they weren't thinking that thing through. It's like, you playing with fire, and the fire is real.
But I guarantee you one thing: if that same situation that went down with the Crown,
Oh yeah. Oh,
they had people on post.
they would have retaliated. They would have retaliated too. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's sure.
And that goes to, that highlights the lack of spirituality, because we are quick to kill one another.
Yep.
Quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then of course we get to the scene before the last scene, and this is where Roy Mitchell's meeting with Bill. He gives him the envelope with money and the keys to a gas station. And although Trey didn't pick up on it, he said they didn't show where this is continued. See, it's a lot of metaphor. Everything is subtle in the movie. So they let you know that COINTELPRO continues, because Bill says, I ain't a Panther no more. And he answered one question. You sure about that? You sure about that? No, you gonna keep on doing what we want you to do.
Yeah.
But you can have these keys to the gas station. Because you do know we'll tell that you ran it. And when you read the real story, you'll find that he had to flee Illinois. He was in witness protection. He had to end up fleeing Illinois because some people found out his cover. And so he went to, I think, California. But he ultimately moved back. And I guess it was just the spirit of what he had done was just too much for him. And March the 3rd of 1989, when he filmed a segment for Eyes on the Prize, just a few months later, in January of 90, he ends up killing himself after the show aired. And that brings us to the final scene. And that final scene is where the real Bill O'Neal is asked the same question from the beginning. What would you tell your son about what you did back then? And in a very flip way, he said, I'll let your documentary put a cap on that. And he said, but one thing I will say, I was a part of the struggle. That's the bottom line. He really saw himself as being, he had to justify some kind of goddamn way. But he said, I will let history speak for me. This is where I can agree with him. And when people say they tried to humanize him, this is real talk. He said, I wasn't an armchair revolutionary who judged the actions or inactions of others while they did nothing. He said he was dedicated and had a point of view, and he put it all on the line. I got to give him that, because that's real. No matter how you hated him, he was in the game. Although working against he was in the game.
But if he's in the game only to subvert and destroy the game, then what kind of credit do we give to him?
No. I'm giving him a credit for being in the game.
Oh, okay. On some level.
Yeah, on some level.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, he was in it. Yeah, because, no doubt.
Last weekend I sent you those videos on the individuals supposedly who now brought the letter out about Malcolm, and they're saying that that's a forgery now. And his daughter is trying to say my daddy was a good person. Yeah, he snitched. yeah, he did some underhanded things, but he was a good person. That's the point. You see what I'm saying? She's trying, sister, you can't justify the actions of your goddamn daddy. Okay? Gene Roberts, who helped the white folks assassinate Malcolm. All these people were just like William O'Neal, but they were in the game. Yeah. Now, whether or not, if you're a relative of theirs, you probably would say, he ain't that bad.
Sure.
You see?
Yeah, you got to say something.
Yeah, but the point that he was making, although I worked for the government, I was in the game. What did y'all do? Did y'all work for the Black Panthers? Did y'all work for the government? Were you with SNCC? Were you with the NAACP? Most people don't do a goddamn thing but sit back and complain. And that's the same thing that goes on today.
That's a hell of a statement and a position to take. You
I'm
know,
serious.
what you know, I was in it to subvert and destroy it. What are y'all gonna do? That's a hell of a man. If that ain't psychotic, you talking about what? And how do you define pimp, Brother Craig? How do you define it?
Psychotic influencer and manipulator of people.
Man, I tell you. But anyway.
All right, that's it. So what? Any questions?
Well, I wanted to know why we didn't really talk about the actual shootout at the headquarters. So we actually
I wanted to talk about.
We did actually see them fight with the police and shoot the police. So we can't just gloss over that. They did actually put that into play. They did shoot out with the police. That's an actuality, and so we can say they were partially about that life. We can't say they're 100% about that life, but they were willing, and we know that Fred Hampton was willing to die for his beliefs. And, no matter if those beliefs were foolhardy, or if those beliefs didn't justify him dying, he believed. And he put his life on the line. So that's why I have to say, that's why I don't agree with you when you say they wasn't playing. I mean, they was playing. They weren't playing. They just didn't know the game they were playing. That's all. They weren't really playing. They were serious. They just didn't know what the hell was going on. That's what I'm gonna say about that part.
So Naru, I did hit on it. I glossed over it because at the beginning I said they have had shootouts. They did, but of course they had more casualties than the police.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But I'm just saying they weren't scared to shoot. They weren't scared.
Well, the majority of them were. You did have, look, the best example of fearlessness came with Geronimo Pratt. January of 1969, the same year that they took out Fred Hampton in December. In LA, they had the whole thing going on between the Black Panthers and us, the Melania Correa group. And so when you look at that situation, they had this big shootout with Bunchy Carter.
Right.
Not Bunchy Carter, with Geronimo Pratt and the other guys. This is before Bunchy Carter.
Oh, okay.
So this is like 60. It might have been, it was 68. It was 68 they had the shootout. And it was over 1,000, I think, shots were fired that day. Nobody got killed. Nobody got killed. Okay, that's my overall point. There were some people, because Geronimo Pratt was a decorated soldier.
Without a doubt.
He was about that life. Okay? He was literally about that life. But at the end of the day, for the rhetoric that they were talking throughout the United States, hell, you should at least have 500 police throughout the country. If you had 10, I would be shocked.
I would concede your point, Brother Naru, that well, to an extent, that they didn't know the game they were playing. And this is why I study that it's so important that we study, because Brother Craig sent me a video about a Merritt College where they got their start, and one sister said that more often than not, the guns were unloaded. More often than not, they were just about propaganda and showing.
Oh no, that's real.
They actually went to, I think, either France or Italy to meet with a photo propagandist, but they went to meet someone to better understand how to use photos and imagery as propaganda. So like you said, Naru, it's amazing at that time that they didn't know what kind of bear they were poking. And it's dangerous when you constantly tell the people, or you present yourself as a certain military response, and then the people think you serious, they
Yeah.
get on board,
Yeah.
they want to do what you've been talking about doing, and across the board, you ain't really trying to do it, man. That's dangerous.
No, that's
Yeah.
People
super
get
dangerous.
killed, people get hurt, but you talk about kill one pig, kill two pigs, kill all the pigs, and people say, well, fuck it, let's kill the pigs. Well, hold on for a second now. God, we ain't really mean kill them.
Now
Come on now.
we talking about two different chapters of the Panthers. You got to realize that. Now, the one in Chicago were not the same ideology all the way through as the ones from Oakland. So I mean, I'm gonna say that Fred Hampton and them were a little bit more about that life than Huey and them. I'm just gonna say that right up front, because Huey and them admitted that they shit wasn't loaded when they went to the Capitol. They already said that. So
Right.
So right now we're only talking about the Chicago Panthers,
Sure.
Fred Hampton group. We're not talking about the overall group. But I would agree with you on that if we were talking about the overall group. I'm just more specifically talking about the shootout at their headquarters, which that they actually
I think that's why there was a split. I think that's where the Black Guerrilla Army came from, because they said, y'all niggas talking, we about shooting, and I think that's why it was a split.
No doubt.
Yeah, dig it. But see, even with that, like Brother Craig said, it should have been at least 500 dead, but you should know, and I don't even know if it's fair for me to say, us looking back, we can see where they had to know at that time. And I think they said it in the movie, we can't win a straight up shootout. I think they said that. So if you know you can't win a straight up shootout, what sense does it make to try and have a shootout? If you know that you can't win a straight up shootout, you got to put glass in the oatmeal and be smarter about the revolution you say you want to wage.
Exactly.
I mean, just so many things, man. When you think about it, it's like, come on now, really?
Yeah.
Hell,
exactly.
the Vietnamese won not because they were trying to have a straight up shootout, because they dug spider holes in the ground and tunnels. You got to change and adapt. But anyway, blah blah.
Yeah. No, that's real talk.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Black Guerrilla family, the BLA, those entities really got to partner. And Brother Naru, I'm gonna send you this video. I'm gonna even send you this video with Fred Hampton, real video, what he says about the weathermen.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Yeah.
See, he called the weathermen crazy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Because they about that life.
He said,
he said they gonna get the people killed. But you talking like you down for what the weathermen are doing.
He said they gonna get somebody killed.
That's real. He said it out his mouth. I saw it.
I said, hey, bro, y'all better leave these, because these people like to kill, bro.
Oh,
they
yeah. That gun is their religion, no doubt.
Yeah, that's their religion. And then at the end of the day, Naru, and check this point out. How many guns do you have right now, bro, Naru?
I'm not gonna say that on camera, bro.
Okay, but you do have some weapons.
I do.
And the only reason I'm asking is because I was now about to ask you what's going on right now in the United States.
And
what's going on right now? What have we been dealing with for the past year in the United States?
Are you talking about the coronavirus?
All right. Now, connect that to your gun.
Connected with my gun? Yeah. I mean, if things get crazy and break down, or people gonna try to come in and take things from my home, is that what you're talking about? Am I gonna have to protect myself? What?
Not from that angle, because you got guns.
Okay.
But connect the coronavirus to a very important aspect of having guns. Something is going on right now because of the corona pandemic. What is that?
Are you talking about the vaccine that they're trying to push?
Limited ammo.
Oh, you're talking about that. Right. Yeah, that's real.
Now follow me. That's the only reason I was asking how many guns you got.
Oh, no, that's real. That's real talk.
Let's say you got 5 goddamn guns. If you ain't got no goddamn ammo, what the fuck use is the gun?
Gun ain't no good. You can throw it at somebody. That's about it. When the ammo run out.
Now, have you had to shoot the guns to now reduce your ammunition supply?
If you go to the range, you do.
You do. Now, if you are now going with your typical way you roll, I'm gonna go to the range, I'm gonna shoot. Now your ass is losing bullets.
Yeah.
Now under the pandemic, bruh, it's hard to find ammunition, bruh.
It is. It's hard to find ammunition right now, and hard to get guns too.
And the more sophisticated the gun, guess what? The more difficult it's gonna be to find ammunition. So the white folks control the ammunition.
Unless you learn how to make your own ammunition. That's real talk.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of conversation we need to be having.
Okay.
Not on camera.
Well, of course not. Of course not.
I ain't making nothing, y'all. No,
I'll make some muffins.
And my gun's registered.
Yeah, my brothers, you first have to have all the natural resources, the brass or the steel to even make the jackets.
That's right.
You know, you have to have a forger and all of that going in, and then you have to have the compositions to make the gunpowder.
Yeah.
The actual bullets have to be forged. So it's a pretty extensive thing, rather than just getting the separate components themselves, the jackets and the shells themselves. It's complicated. I just had to go through a little deal just last week, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I went to purchase a weapon at a reputable market at an academy sport goods store. Okay, walked in there, honorable citizen, military vet. Went up to the counter. I knew what I wanted. I didn't even have to handle it. You know, I knew what I wanted, I sat there patiently. And this little white guy comes over to me. I said, I want to purchase that weapon. You know, he said, all I need is your ID. I pull out my ID. Well, all the current IDs, and many people have told me this. I don't know what's going on with the way, the cheapness that they're making it, but mine has a crease right at the barcode. It's not broken. It's not torn, not tattered in any kind of way. Totally legible. It just has a crease where it has a bend there. And this guy looks me dead in my eye and said, I can't do it based on this ID because it has a crease in it. You know, and the crease it's not even where any wordings are. Then he picks it up and starts to attempt to fold it back and forth. And I had to just with a stern voice tell him, I said, man, do not tear my ID or you will make it bad. You know, I said, hand me my ID, and I'm gonna let you have that. Now, because he lied to my face. I have yet to go back and confront that, but I'm wondering if it's even gonna waste my time to do so, because he lied and told me, well, the ATF is getting on us about IDs and this, that, and other. I said, man, I said, you full of it, and I walked out the store. Okay. I have since, you know, just to make sure, I knew it was a lie. I contacted an ATF buddy of mine, and he said, "Man, I don't even have to, you know, indignify that question with a dignified answer. So you already know, you know, the dude lied." I said, "I know." I said, and I could have took it up the chain. So,
kid, you went on and got a weapon at another store.
A few couple of days later, I went to the Bass Pro Shop and bought the same weapon. You know, with no questions. I mean, even the manager of the store, you know, everybody, you know, just, hey man, it was almost like a family matter deal. You know, hey man, glad you purchased this thing. You know, from us. You know, never brought up the deal about what happened in the store. You know, never rob Peter to pay Paul. Now comes the premise of what Brother Craig was saying, the ammo. That and the reason why I actually downgraded because I have a 40 cal, and thank God I've been saving stuff for that, forever and a day. But in the purchase of the newer weapon, which is 9 millimeter, I downgraded because that's more readily available ammo. Because because the police use it and because it's just more readily available. So that just goes to show, and it goes back to the premise of what you were saying, Brother Naru, about okay, well, if they were talking rhetoric, why did they attack the Panthers? Number one, they don't want one black man, namely myself, with a weapon. If you're talking about white folks, and that's just putting it out there for real. They don't want one black man with a gun. So you take the whole organization. What would 10 of them do? What are they prone to do?
Yeah.
So
Can I add to that?
what you can go ahead, sir, but I wanted to bring home this point about it doesn't take a violent movement towards the political system to bring that kind of heat on you, because and I'll say this, and sister, put your finger on there because I'm about to shut this down on my part. The group Move, if you remember, had a whole barrel bomb dropped on them.
Mm-hmm.
They were not looking to overtake the whole political system. They just wanted to live in a way that they wanted to live in that natural manner. But they had guns, mama, and they didn't play. They did not play. They used their guns, but mainly, for self-defensive purposes. Only for self-defensive purposes. And then when they came for them, they got dealt with. So they had to drop a bomb on them.
Yeah.
They had to drop a whole bomb on them and burn men, women, and children out. So black people, period. That's why we get shot in the street. They say, oh, I'm scared of him. I'm scared of her. And they shoot us down, and they use that, and they have gotten off on that defense in the white courts. So any one of us, if you bare knuckle a sucker down, you can get shot down, and that's something I'm gonna say. He was fearing for his life, and he can get off with it. So our strength, period. So just keep that in mind. We're a threat just by the nature of who we are and who they don't want us to know we are. But go ahead, Sister Sherry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll
Sister?
throw y'all off by saying this. Is black really a race? I'm gonna leave that there because they can go all into something else. But anyway, my point is too, when we talk about Judas and the Black Messiah, because I know Craig had this conversation on another platform, I invited him to. We have to look at when we doing these movie reviews. Now, it's just me. I think we could do better for the group. Tied into what's going on in modern day times. What do I mean by that? We talking about guns, right? The Black Panther, the movement. What do we know about HR 127 that molded old hag braids Sheila Jackson Lee is putting in place to put restrictions on you from getting guns, telling you have to take a mental evaluation, and they just added too, if you ever been arrested by a police officer or somebody filed the police report on you, you won't even be qualified to get a gun. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all why. See, and that's why I say these coon people, they not for us. It don't matter anyway. She from the Caribbean and all that, so they don't know our struggle. They don't know our plight, right? And she pulling water for the demonic Democrats, right? So, because this lady has never wrote a bill. See, I know these people. This lady has never wrote one bill, but all of a sudden now she just starting to write bills because this new administration. And look it up. Look it up. I know a guy, Richard Johnson, who ran against her. I know all kind of dirt on Sheila Jackson Lee, but this is stuff we need to be abreast to, because the only reason, and this is me saying this, the only reason they came out with that bill 127, you know why? Just guess why y'all think they came out with it. You said, Brother King, you went to go buy a gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
You went to go. Guess why y'all think they came out with the bill? Because there wasn't no problem before with having guns. You know why?
Because the numbers of
Because black.
blacks buying guns went up.
There you go.
The
Exactly. The number of
statistically
black
it went up.
there. Exactly. And what happened, y'all? Next thing you know, they come out with this bill, HR
Exactly.
127. I made that point on another show. I said, I think the only reason the bill came about is because the number of black people started buying guns. I go to Top Gun to shoot with this a guy named Darius, he part of the Lloyd group. But the same thing, short as the ammo, and I'm only shooting my little small 380. I'm not even shooting nothing big, right? And they don't even have ammo for that.
No, it don't.
When the pandemic first hit, you couldn't even go online to buy no ammo, let alone excuse me, go in the store. They had a limit on the ammo. But every time I went to the gun range, because when I go, I can only shoot 4 to 10 bullets because it's the shortage of ammo, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a good target shooter, so that's good for me. It don't matter. I don't need a lot of rounds. But
Yeah.
anyway, what happened was every time you even went, and I'm just saying how it was such a great sight to see. It's like I won a lottery when I saw so many black people at the gun range.
Mm-hmm.
So many black people at the gun range purchasing guns. I mean, group family classes, everybody at the gun range that they even had a waiting. You know, you had to wait like 10 or 15 minutes so you can go, get you a space to even shoot, a number to shoot, a section or a number to shoot. So we got to look at these politicians too and know what they're doing. And I don't want to veer off to nothing else, just like with this anti-black racism, with Asians and stuff. Now
Sister
they coming out.
what state are you in, sister?
I'm in Texas.
Okay.
I'm in Texas. Yeah, I'm in Texas.
It's the same in
Houston,
Louisiana
Texas.
also. It's the same in Louisiana.
It's worse here in
okay.
California.
But in nationwide, it still is short of ammo, just like the sister said, and it only came into play when blacks start really buying guns, and they start coming out on. You start seeing them on the different videos and on the scenes marching. Everybody from the fake NFA crew,
Social
or
media.
whatever. The Black Panther part. I mean, not me. The Huey P. Newton Gun Club. Marching on Stone Mountain, Georgia. That didn't help. You ain't Klan headquarters. So, but the thing about it is just like you starving out the people that need it. You starving out the people that need it. They've been stacking and stocking. The lady at Academy in one particular branch told me that they be waiting outside the store like it's Black Friday to go in the store to buy ammo when the store opens, just to get the restock. So if you're not up in the morning, just to go get it. So but sister, we the thing about it, the reason why everything is tying together, because these movies we all have to study the past in order to prevent the things like that from happening to us in the future. And current times, because look how it has brought you to even. That's why it's important for people like you to participate into these discussions, because now you brought that different dynamic to it. This discussion is a revolution.
Yeah.
It's a revolution within itself, because everybody now who leaves this discussion is going to have some kind of seed planted into their head and going to have a change of view of something that's been behind something that's been released within this conversation. This is a revolution. We are a revolution in ourselves, because as Brother Craig pointed out before, and Brother Tamani talks about it all the time, the revolution is in our mind. It's like the old saying, free your mind and your ass will follow.
So check this out. I'm looking at, and you might say, Trey mentioned earlier, he's like, these are nuanced concepts that I'm bringing to the table. So I'm gonna connect the gun discussion and the ammunition discussion right now with my business partner. She's on the call, Frances Smith, and I'm looking at my KuCoin cryptocurrency account right now. And under Pundi X, which I started investing a month ago, I've invested less than 3,000. And I'm looking at my account, and my account for Pundi X is now over $7,000 in less than a month. Now, you said, well, what does that have to do with guns and ammunition? I'm also looking at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin right now is $59,063. What does this have to do with guns, ammunition, and revolution? Well, it's real simple. Bitcoin in January of 2010 was 0.0008 cents. It was less than a penny, 0.0008. With $100 invested in January 2010, you would have been able to have 125,000 Bitcoin. If you had waited until December of 2010, that same $100 would have got you 1,250 Bitcoin. Again, what's the connection between guns, ammo, revolution, and reclassifying revolution? I said it earlier when Trey mentioned reclassifying revolution, that we got to go beyond the illusion that revolution is at the barrel of a gun. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to buy enough guns to wage an offensive against the United States and its allies. That's number one. Number two, if you're just waging a defense, you're just taking a defensive posture, you still have to have weapons and, as we're discussing right now, ammunition. We just got through talking about the limited ammunition. I get the fact that there are more Black folks buying weapons, and of course, that is concerned, but I will tell you, it's not just a Black thing. They definitely, you got these Democrats who are pushing to get guns out of the hands, period. This is before these Black folks started getting, they've been trying to do this for years. So that's number three. Now, if you had $100 and you had invested in Bitcoin back then with 125,000 coins, in 2017 when Bitcoin first hit 20,000, you would have had $2.5 billion. Billion, not million, billion. You could have sold half of your stash, picked up 1.2 billion, and let the rest ride. And right now, that 62,500 would be over $3 billion. Now, if you got $3 billion, guess what you can now do? You can goddamn create an armory. You can now manufacture ammunition and get all of the natural resources that Brother Ken just got through talking about. But without any goddamn money, guess what? You're gonna be subject to your goddamn oppressor while you're talking shit about killing people. You see? So I'm connecting all the dots so I can show you that the revolution is already going on and it's on the damn computer screen. You're not gonna wage offensive warfare against the United States or any of its allies. So all you can do is take a defensive posture. This is the war right now. And if you're not in this computer war on this computer screen, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But you better get in this goddamn war. Because I for damn sure wasn't thinking that $3,000 would be over $7,000 in less than a goddamn month.
All right, and on that note, we're gonna close this thing out because we're rolling into our third hour, and Lord have mercy. Cool. So with that, I want to thank everybody for being a part. I apologize again for the technical difficulties I was having, which got us started, not really late, but I had some issues, so I apologize for that. I don't know what was going on with my connection and my laptop. But this is why we have the movie reviews, not just to talk about historical movies, but also to review documentaries, to review movies that may seem like they don't have a connection, because as a people, as a group, we simply don't understand a lot of stuff. And we give past movements and past leaders credence and kudos and credit for things that they didn't get right that we're trying to emulate now today, which means we continue to make the same mistakes. So we're trying to put our people in a position to win, and we can't do that if we keep making the same mistakes, because we have yet to learn. And we have yet to learn because we don't read, we don't study, we don't critically analyze, and we most certainly don't critically think. And that is why we're here. That's why we do the movie reviews. That's why we have the Revolutionary Code. That's why we have the programs to get Black people involved, because we understand that this thing is not going to change from an outside force. It's only going to change from within, which is us, which of course, everything starts with our minds. It doesn't matter if you have a weapon or not. If you have the mind of a slave, it don't matter. It don't matter if you have bullets or not, if you think like your oppressor. It doesn't matter if you have a weapon or not, if you see your people as a bunch of niggas and you just want to sell them out because you want to get paid. So we have to understand all of that. We got to understand, what we're always talking about, the 6 pillars of empowerment, because all that plays a role. So we got a lot of stuff to do. And of course, the movie reviews and the Revolutionary Codes and all this other stuff, they're simply there to help our people understand what's what, so that we can do what needs to be done and not make the same mistakes that our people have been making, since we've been here. So with that, I want to thank everybody for being a part. We do this every 2 weeks. So the next movie review would be in 2 weeks. And we'll go from there. Every Thursday, Brother Craig and I, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, we have the Revolutionary Code, where we talk about politics, which is everything, how that thing actually works and how it affects our people. So with that, again, thank you guys very much for being here. I appreciate it. Always, always, always remember 2 things. No one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And lastly, always, always, always remember that nothing is more sacred. Not me, not you, not your kids, not my kids, not your family, not my family. Nothing is more sacred than the liberation and salvation of Black people. Because if Black people don't make it, you're not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. Our kids aren't going to make it, and our families aren't going to make it. That's why we want to put the tribe first, put the group first, put the nation first, build power for the nation so it can protect the people that's attached to it, because they are melanated Black people, which is our target market. So with that, again, thank you guys very much. God bless, and I'll see you guys hopefully this coming Thursday and definitely in 2 weeks. Take care. Peace.
Peace.
All right.